Hello, Abeka Academy homeschool families. We're so thankful to have the chance to drop in and just have a quick conversation with you today, talking specifically today to our elementary families that are in the accredited program. We love to try to anticipate your questions and get information to you in a timely manner. So we thought today might be a great opportunity to drop in and talk a little bit about the important subject of reading that your students are taking as part of their coursework in Abeka Academy's elementary program. Reading is such a wonderful life skill, isn't it? I think one of the skills, probably the main skill that we teach students as we go through all the different subject areas, is to teach them to be lifelong learners. And reading is such an important part of that because we can not only learn to read, but we can read to learn for the rest of our lives. And so it is a wonderful gift to give the students the ability to read and to glean from that reading. Reading is a graded subject in the Abeka Academy accredited program, and when you get up into the upper elementary grades, we add on some pieces to that grade. There's some comprehension elements in a written form that can be graded in our speed and comprehension program. But the majority of the grade in the reading program does come from the student's oral ability to read. And that can be a little bit intimidating if you've never graded reading before, to know exactly how to assess your student's ability to read. And moms, dads, grandparents, family members who are helping to homeschool, we can't assign a grade that's what we want our student to receive as a reading grade. It really does need to be based on the ability that they're demonstrating and grading against some set guidelines that will set the bar high and allow them the opportunity to improve in their reading skill. So one of those questions that we often get early on in the school year is, how do I grade my child's reading? Well, I want to give you some helps with that, and I really just want to point you to your video manual because so much valuable information is here. And I know when you received your manual back perhaps several weeks ago when your materials arrived, you may have read through all of the information in the front of the manual and gleaned as much as you could, but at the time, really we wouldn't have been able to absorb everything because we didn't have context for everything that we were going to encounter during the school year. So let's dive in now that we're into our school year and let the manual help guide us in taking these oral reading grades. So I'm going to use the third grade video manual, but you grab your video manual and you will find similar elements to what I'm going to point out in the third grade manual. The first thing is toward the beginning of the video manual. This would be in the subject descriptions and grading area. There's a specific section that gives all kinds of helps for reading, and I'm going to go straight to where it says oral reading grades. In this third grade manual, it's on page T16, and it mentions that you're going to begin taking an oral reading grade for third grade in lesson 8. Now that can vary depending on the grade level, so do follow along in your manual and make sure you know what's expected. It does tell you that sample grades are going to be included in several lessons during the year. That's going to be such a help, isn't it? To help us listen to the children on the video read, to see the sample grades that they were assigned, and then to listen to our child read, and then we've got a point of comparison, that standard that we can measure them against. We'll see some additional helps there that students should read at least a medium-sized paragraph of new material, and what that means is if they had reading homework the night before, which is very common in the lower elementary grades, that we're not grading them on something that they've already read. The grading standard is based on fresh new reading so that we can see what their skill is right off the bat. So don't grade something that they've read before, and then choose the day you grade based on having enough new reading material. So we're going to put that reminder once a week on the lessons that end in 8 and then the lessons that end in 3. If you're on a Monday to Friday perfect schedule, that would fall on Wednesday, but I realize life isn't perfect, so it doesn't matter which day of the week that you grade. If that particular lesson doesn't have enough new reading material, it would be fine for you to choose a different lesson during that week. And then the manual shares with you reading qualities that you'll want to look for to evaluate the student's reading: accuracy, enunciation, smoothness. I'm not going to go through that detail. You've got it right in front of you, but there's so much help there. And then just across from that, there's a little chart that describes in general terms what it would would take for a student to make an A in reading, a B in reading, a C in reading. And you can add that plus or minus to the grade just depending on what you believe your student deserves based on what's described in that paragraph. Notice that students who receive a C in reading demonstrate average ability in oral reading and may need to work on several of those specific qualities that were listed off to the side there, the accuracy, enunciation, smoothness, and so on. So students who are average earn a C. And I think sometimes as parents, especially at the beginning of the year, we have to be careful not to grade too high because we want our student to do well, but grade them accurately, giving them opportunity to improve throughout the school year. There's some additional helps there, but I want to move on into the daily guides pages. So I'm looking at lesson 8, where the front matter told me that the first reading grade would take place. And it does say in that shaded box over in the right-hand column that we're going to grade oral reading over new material. 1 grade needs to be taken each week. Again, that reminder is going to fall in the lessons that end in 8 and in 3, but you can decide if there's a better day of the week or a better reading assignment that you'd like to grade. And in this 3rd grade manual, that first lesson that calls for grading oral reading has the sample oral reading grades right there. So there are several students, looks like 6 students, starting with student number 2 that read on the video, that are reading what we would call cold reading, brand new reading, not what they read for homework the night before, which was at the beginning of that lesson. But you can follow right along in your student's book, listen to the students read on the video, see the grade that they were assigned, and again, have a good baseline for grading your student. And you'll continue to do that once a week. Now I want to take you to the very back of the manual because there's some additional helps for you in the back. I'm looking at the section that's entitled, in 3rd grade, it's Appendix I, Home Teacher Materials. Now, several years ago, several different grades handle it a little bit differently, but all of the elementary grades have been updated now. This was a whole separate product, and you asked us to combine so you wouldn't have so many pieces. So now the home teacher materials is right in the back of your video manual. And as I look at the reading section, it reminds me again that the reading grade is based on the samples of your students' oral reading, which you're going to submit to our office for our instructors to grade, and on reading selections that you will grade. So let me tell you that even though the manual is going to prompt you to grade reading every single week, in the accredited program, only a few of those weekly grades are averaged together to develop the student's average for the grading period. So the manual is going to tell you exactly which ones that you need to turn into Abeka Academy. There's some information there in the home teacher materials, but I really want to go to the progress report. I'm looking at the 3rd grade first grading period progress report, and I see right there on the front that it says oral reading, and then it says graded by Abeka Academy at the top. And it tells you exactly what to do, home teacher. That's you. It says that the oral reading grade is based on the reading submitted to Abeka Academy. It's so simple. You can call our number that's listed right there on the page and have your child read the lessons listed here. So if you look below in 3rd grade, the lessons that you're going to have your child call in oral reading are lessons 13 and 23. Now you say, Amy, you just talked about lesson 8. Lesson 8 is the first one that you could grade. It really could become a practice grade for your child, just a starting point. The first grade that's going to be recorded as part of the official average of the child's reading grade is going to be lesson 13. So it does provide the page numbers right there that the child needs to read from. Now that's a wide range of pages. They can read anywhere from 70 to 76. You will notice in the information that was shared a little bit earlier here that students only need to read really for just a couple of minutes of oral reading in order to help us get the information that we need to be able to grade their oral reading. So have them read just a couple of minutes from those pages 70 to 76. And at the beginning of that recording, you're going to give us your account number, their student ID, and the lesson number that you're calling that reading in for. That's all spelled out for you right here in bold print. So when you call in, you'll just quickly state those 3 key pieces of information, and then you just let your child read to the phone. There's no pressure. There's nobody on the other end of the line talking to them or giving them immediate feedback. It's being recorded, and our reading team here at Abeka Academy will listen to and evaluate their oral reading later. Now, sometimes students get really nervous about that. And you know what? They don't even have to know that that grade is being recorded for a grade. You have to decide what's best for your child. Some children need to know that, so they do their best. Others feel a lot of pressure from knowing that. So decide what works best for your child. And if they don't need the pressure of knowing that today's reading is being graded, then you get to decide what is best for them. Notice that it says if there's some reason that you're unable to use that phone-in system for calling in the reading, that you can email a recording to our email address that's right there on the progress report. So if you would rather record them on a recording app on your cell phone maybe, and then email that file, that audio file to Abeka Academy, just send it in at that address. Now I will tell you, things get expedited more quickly when you're able to call into the reading line, but if you're not able to do that or not comfortable doing that, there is that alternate opportunity to turn that reading into us. You could even record that reading on your cell phone just as you're working with your child through the day, and then call into the phone line and just play that recording into the phone line. That would be perfectly fine for you to do as well. Notice that on the progress report, you just check off that you've called those readings in. Again, for third grade, that's 13 and 23 for the first grading period. But notice just below that, there's an oral reading that's graded by the home teacher. So in lesson 8, you did sort of a sample evaluation of your child's reading. In 13, you had them call in and read to the Abeka Academy line that an instructor will grade later. The next week in lesson 18, you get to record their oral reading grade. So you use that information that's included in the front of the manual of what's an A, what's a B, what's a C, what reading quality should I look for, and then you record that reading grade for them right there on the progress report, primarily based on their accuracy, their expression, their comprehension. Listen for those key qualities of reading. And then that's all you need to do for that first grading period in third grade. There's just 3 grades that you either call in or you as the parent grade, and then just record the grade right there on the progress report. Then at the end of the grading period, a perk of the accredited program is we will average all of that together for you and then issue an official report card to you at the end of the grading period. And of course, we can get you a transcript at the end of the year as you need it as well. So I hope that's a help to you. I hope it'll be a help mostly to know that this information is included right in your video manual. So anytime you have a question, grab that video manual, go to the front, go to the daily guides, go to the back. And if you still have a question, reach out to us at Abeka. We've got our contact information right here in the manual, and we would love to be a help to you in any way that we can. Have a great day.